professional solutions to money, relationships, wellness, and more. Shine a light onto your day and into your life. Power Your Life with Dr. Joanne White.
Welcome to Power Your Life. I'm Joanne White, your host, and my first guest is the four-time Emmy Award-winning actress, best known for her role as Olivia on the long-running television drama The Waltons. As a veteran star of stage and screen, she's back with a new theater production called Love Letters, and here to tell us all about it. Welcome, Michael Learned. How are you?
Thank you for having me. Thanks.
You celebrated, I think, last year, your 40th anniversary for the Waltons.
I think it was last year. Everything goes so fast now that I don't know if it was last year or 5 years ago, but I think it was last year.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Yeah,
so you played Ma, and what was it like playing that role for 10 years on the show?
It put my kids through private school. That was good. And I gained a whole new family.
That's
right.
Right.
We're all still very close. And, I have two families, the Walton family and my own children.
And Ralph Waite, I'm sorry, he passed away, and he was Pa on the Walton.
He was wonderful. I loved him so much. And we were supposed to do love letters here at the Wilmington, at the Delaware Theater Company in Wilmington. And I called him and said, would you like to do love letters with me? And he said, sure, where? And I said, Delaware. And he went, Delaware? And I said, yes. And he said, well, if I'm still here.
So maybe he knew something.
I think he did. He was quite sick, actually, and he hid it very well. But I had a little dinner party, and the kids came, and he drove all the way up for a 4-hour drive from Palm Desert. And he had never, the kids always teased him because he never remembered their names. And this particular night, he sat there and he named each one. Cammie, tell me about your life. What are you doing these days? John, tell me about your life. What's going on in your life? And he went around the room and named each of them by name, and then drove all the way back to Palm Desert that night. And a month or two later, he was gone.
It's amazing
so
that
it was like he was saying goodbye.
It was, but it was amazing that you were able to have that dinner with everyone together.
I'm so grateful we had that, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Love Letters. I know it's on through October 5th here in Delaware, and you're playing with Daniel Davis. He's your co-star, right?
Yes, bless him. He stepped in, and he had never done the play before.
Right.
I've done it a couple of times, and he's wonderful. The first read-through, I said, Danny, I don't believe that you've never done this before, because it's just, he's a classical actor as well as playing the butler on The Nanny. And he has a feel for this that's amazing, and people keep telling us that we have great chemistry, and I think we do. So the audiences here have loved the show. They seem to really get these people, which is very gratifying.
So what's the little bit of the story about Love Letters?
Well, it's basically, it's a love story,
right.
But it's also, I wonder what might have been kind of a story, because they've grown up together from kindergarten, and they've kept this correspondence going all through their lives, really. And Andy is a kind of a man who has decided to do the right thing in life, the way his father taught him to do. And so he's made a lot of personal sacrifices to be a politician, and to, although nowadays you wonder how many sacrifices politicians make.
And your role?
And my role is a woman who is very wealthy, and constrained by her social upbringing, and wants to break out of it, but
doesn't know how.
Doesn't know how, exactly. Yeah.
So when you started acting, what was it like, and how did being on the Waltons shape your whole acting career?
Well, I had done a lot of theater before the Waltons, and I'm glad, because the TV life doesn't last forever, and so I can come back to my first love, which has always been theater. But I was sent away to boarding school when I was 12, because I had as a lot of adolescents do, I'm sure you know, I was having a sort of hormonal breakdown, I guess. We were living in a tiny village in Austria, and the doctor suggested that I should be with kids that were who loved dance and the arts the way I did. So I was sent to boarding school, which really wasn't what I had in mind. And so I was extremely homesick, and all I did was cry. And the teacher would say, "Michael, could you cry a bit more quietly, please?" And I'd be sitting in the back going, but I won the drama cup there, and
Amazing.
the teacher said, "You're not really a very good dancer, so why don't you specialize in drama?" Which is what I did. And
Right.
it's
And
good.
here
So
you
sometimes
are.
the worst things in life, because I thought it was the worst thing at 12 that I was in another country in this boarding school. And it turns out I got wonderful training, and it gave me a career. So
And when you look back, how do you feel about your career?
I've had a great career. I hope it's not over yet.
I don't think
I want to
so.
keep going as long as I can. And I love working at the Delaware Theater Company. I did a play 2 years ago called The Outgoing Tide,
Here?
which was quite different
Right,
from this.
right.
And so, you know, I hope this is the beginning of a long friendship with that theater. It's a great theater.
Well, I think it's so important that you're so versatile. You're able to go from TV to theater, and like you said, theater is your first love.
Well, Danny and I were talking about it the other day, and we both agree that each one helps the other, you know, because television you have to be very honest. The camera, you can't lie in
Right.
front of the television camera. And so that informs your work in the theater. And the theater also, where you look for subtext and you try to find deeper meaning
Right.
in what you're saying and doing and your character. So that informs television. So we're fortunate. There was a time when you were either a movie actor, a television actor, or a theater actor. They didn't cross over, but
Right.
now, thankfully, they do.
That's good. Thanks so much. More with actress Michael Learned when Power Your Life returns. We're back with America's most respected TV mom, best known as Olivia Walton, or as show fans call her Ma, actress Michael Learned. We were talking earlier about your acting career, and also you said that you traveled. You were in Austria because of your dad in the CIA. Is it?
Well, it was called the OSS then,
Right.
Overseas Secret Service. I didn't know what he was doing.
Right.
So there's a wonderful TV show that actually Richard Thomas is in called The Americans, which is about Russian spies
Right.
who live as, and of course my father was a spy in this tiny little village in 1950. But we didn't know what he was doing.
Because he had to keep it hush-hush. right?
Exactly. But he had a room where there was a telegraph machine.
Right.
And all the curtains were always closed, and we had to knock. We could never go in. And whenever I'd go in, if he was typing something, he'd pull the papers
Right.
down. And all kinds of weird things were going on, but we didn't know.
Right.
But when I watch The Americans, I think, boy, that was really kind of a screwed up childhood because there were secrets. It was,
Right. Yeah.
and,
Well,
and
'cause
my
he-
mother finally told me when we were leaving, she said, "Michael, this is a life and death secret. Your father is working for the Secret Service, and if you ever tell anybody, his life could be in danger." So I learned how to keep secrets.
good.
Yeah.
So you recently played on Miss Daisy, is that it? Or-
Oh, I've done Driving Miss Daisy.
Driving Miss Daisy.
In fact, we wanted to do that here, but
Right.
Bud couldn't get the rights. I think they're tied up for some kind of
Right.
tour that's going to happen. And so I suggested Love Letters, and luckily he moved on it right away because now they're doing Love Letters in New York on
Right,
Broadway.
right.
And they haven't asked me, but I'm not bitter. So he might not have been
Right,
able to
right.
get them. It's lucky he did.
So Love Letters is still playing through October 5th at the
Yes.
Delaware Theater.
Yep. And people love it.
Good. They're
And
getting great reviews.
I
I know
love
you
it.
don't like to look at the
Thank
reviews.
you.
right?
Well, I like to hear that they were great.
right.
So that's good. And you know, it's interesting. Men come up to me afterwards and relate to my character. That's only here that I've ever heard that.
That's interesting.
They come up to me and they say, "Your character told my story," and I'm thinking, well, you must have done something to turn your life around, which is very good.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
You have played Ma and this wonderful, revered, special mom on TV. Is there anyone on TV right now that's playing a mother role that people can really relate to or that you think is important?
Can you think of anybody?
I don't
can.
watch a lot of TV.
No, I don't
offense,
either.
so-
Honestly, I don't.
Right.
I do with my husband.
Right.
And you know, I usually watch what he wants to watch.
Okay,
Not,
no.
not because I'm passive, but because
You're far from passive.
because
right.
you know, I don't really care that much. Here I haven't watched anything. I've been reading, which I love.
Right.
That's my first love, yeah.
There's so much involved with social media, and people are actors are putting so much out there. Do you think that it's taking away some of the mystique that's involved in acting and in their lives?
I guess. I've tried to be a regular person all my life. Even when the Waltons was at its peak,
Right.
I would stand in line at the movie theater. I took buses in New York when I was doing a series called Nurse, and I never wanted to lose touch with the real world. And I do think some Hollywood people are so isolated by their fame, if you
Right.
will, that that really their lives get really out of whack, I think. And mine has stayed pretty normal. My kids once said, "Mom, you don't have to stand in line." And I said, this isn't going to last forever, and it's more fun to stand in
Right.
line. You get to talk to people.
Right.
And that takes the mystique out of it, but by the same token, people don't want to grab your clothes and tear your hair out or anything,
Which is
because you're
good.
just a
Right,
person.
which is nice.
Yeah.
It's good. You and I were talking earlier about what's coming up for you, Olivia. I see I'm calling you Olivia. What's
That's
next?
good. Well, I'm supposed to do an independent film
Right.
called Poor Paul. That's the working title. I
Right.
don't know if it'll stay that way. And I get to play a mafiosa grandmother who mumbles what the leads think is Italian, but it's really her own language. And she carries a gun, and it's a tiny little part, but I can't wait to do it, and I hope they get the money and, that it all really happens, because
Well,
it'll be
right.
be totally different from anything I've ever done.
And it's so different, Michael,
Yeah.
from Olivia
Yeah.
and from the Waltons and that special ma,
I
right?
can have a lot of fun with it. I'm looking
Good.
forward to it.
Well, I wish you lots of luck, and I
Thank
don't
you.
think you need luck. I think you're doing an incredible job, and you've had an incredible life in theater and in TV, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
My
Thanks very
pleasure.
much.
Still ahead, it's not a secret that society has given mental illness a bad name. Next, we'll hear from one man who's speaking about the terrible stigma attached to mental health issues and why he says depression and being bipolar are nothing to be ashamed of. My next guest battled depression for the last 35 years. He's making it his life's mission to educate others to end the stigma and to offer help with strategies that are working successfully for him. Welcome, Michael Weitzman.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
It's my pleasure. You have had challenges with mental health, and tell us a little bit about what those challenges were, Michael.
Well, my challenges my whole life is I've been dealing with, the biggest one is the stigma that I used to call it, with regarding certain things that were like triggers in my life. And one of the biggest one was about income. And that really just got to me so much where I got really sick for many, many years, but I never did anything about it. I did not know until I was about 40 that I needed to do something, medicine, doctors, to get myself better.
So you're talking about medicine and doctors, and for you and for many people, you're talking about the triangle. What's involved in the triangle that a lot of people turn to for their mental health issues?
Well, this is my triangle, which I've used for 15 years now,
Right.
since I came out and told people that it's time for me to get help. So for me, it was basically the psychiatrist on the top, the meds on down below, and then the talkers, like the social worker or
Or
psychologist.
psychologist.
All right.
Right.
That's the triangle. But what I've done is basically use the triangle and other tools regarding personal development, personal improvement. So I did things together to finally get myself out of depression.
Good. So what would you tell other people, not just the people that are struggling with mental health issues, but the families too, because it just doesn't affect one person in isolation. What would you tell them in terms of helping them?
First of all, you need to come out and accept the fact you do have some challenges that are going on.
Right.
That's number one.
Right.
And I did that when I was 40 years old. After that, you need to go get help. Try everything you can possibly do to get help. And then, of course, work with the triangle.
The triangle.
That's my triangle. And then get people to do other things, which I've done, like I said, to really work on the fact that you can have an amazing life, even though you do have this depression or bipolar. Mine is depression and bipolar. And what I do is that's not describing who I am, whether it's a name or bipolar. And what I'm doing is trying to change that stigma, because it's really hard. People are not coming out. They're afraid, they're scared.
Well, the reason they're afraid and they're scared is the stigma. So why is there a stigma in the first place? What's going on with society that makes people so afraid of coming out, like you said?
Well, I just think most people that have something inside, which I know I can attest to, feel ashamed. I feel ashamed. I'm very much of a shame about myself. And now, because of all the stuff I've done to work on myself personally, by reading great books like The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle and other things, it's made me realize that's not who I am. And now I'm able to come out and really not define who I am by my disease. And it's just like having a broken leg. It's just that my mind needs some mending, and it takes time.
And so you're taking the time, you're getting the mending, you're offering that to other people as well. What else is in the toolbox? And we're not going to open that, but that's symbolic. So what else is in the toolbox?
That I've done, and this is actually, I've been doing this for 333 days ago, since I've really got out of, I call the cave of hell, or major depression, is journaling. Journaling, writing things down has been phenomenal. I've been doing that a long time, but really doing it a lot now. Doing a lot of meditation, deep breathing exercises, learning to use affirmations, creeds, prayers, things that are just working on my personal development to be a better person.
So not all of this is going to work for every person,
No.
but what you're suggesting is that we try these tools and see what really fits and come out and not be afraid of who we are.
It's okay. It really is. This is where the biggest problem in our society is that the stigma about being afraid to tell someone that you might have some type of depression, low grade or big time depression, and I felt that way for many years.
I think what happens too, Michael, is that society is afraid. So it's not only that the people who have mental health concerns, but society is afraid. They're afraid that somebody's going to come into a school and it's all about mental health and shoot.
Totally agree.
So they don't even know how to respond when they hear that.
That's why what I do for a living as a motivational, inspirational speaker, as a maximum impact speaker, awareness speaker, I'm going to bring out that awareness about what's going on, because I have personal experience about my struggles with depression.
And you also have been certified by NAMI, so tell us
Yes.
about that. That's very
NAMI,
exciting.
I am so proud now. I also involved with NAMI. It's a National Alliance of Mental Illness, and it's about changing the stigma. That's what we do. We speak at every places, from schools, high schools, companies, organizations, people that have depression, that don't have depression, to really get them to come out, share their stories, and I talk about my days, from the dark days to the successes and dreams and hopes which are going on right at this particular time.
So we've been talking about what to do for the individuals, and really quickly, what do you want to tell the families of people who are challenged with mental health issues?
What I want to tell the families that, please, number one, you need to understand and get education about what they are going through. Just because you have never gone through depression, you have no idea what it's about, and you need to really get more education on that. Learn to be more sympathetic, go involved with organizations like NAMI, and even I'm involved with DBSA, which is depression bipolar groups, support groups.
So get educated, get informed,
100%.
and be empathetic.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Michael. It's
Thank
important
you.
what you're doing. Power Your Life will be right back. Ahead, find out what's hot for next week. Now that school is in session, here's our dear Mama Deb with some great advice for parents and for kids.
Hey everyone, Mama Deb here with a quick laser tip on how to transition your children back to school after vacation mode. We're going to do it having a little bit of fun, just like the great tips that we shared over summer on how to have fun and make the most of your time with your kids. You want to make the most of this opportunity. You're going to have fun doing it. You're going to go get dressed in your yuckiest clothes, and then you're going to go out to dinner to your favorite restaurant. I know that just doesn't jive in your mind, but bear with me here. When you get there, you're going to eat with your non-dominant hand, so you don't want to have your good clothes on. For me, my non-dominant hand is my left one because I write with my right hand. And you might need to explain to the folks at the table around you, because if they have kids, they might want to do this too. Trust me, they'll thank you. You are engaging the brain when you do this, because in order to do something successfully anyways with your non-dominant hand, you really do have to focus and get those brain juices flowing. You see where we're going here with this? So, when you get those little kitties off on the bus and you're sitting there sipping your coffee or tea with your dominant hand, you can relax and enjoy that cup of coffee, knowing that you sent those little ones off totally prepared and mentally ready to go. Enjoy that time at the restaurant and that cup of coffee when they get on the bus. Talk to you next time.
Thanks, Mama Deb, for the wonderful tip. Before we go, I'd like to leave you with my PowerPoints for the week. Are you stretching enough? The benefits of stretching really outweigh your moans and groans. Stretching is good for your mind and for your body. It increases your flexibility, especially in those areas that are tight and that are underused, and after sitting or lying down. Are you having muscle pain or stiffness? Try stretching for some relief to increase the blood flow to your muscles. It can also enhance your physical performance in sports or even when you're just walking somewhere. A short amount of stretching time can actually calm your mind and can give your body a chance to recharge. Also, try stretching to improve your sleep. No more excuses. It can also keep your body and you young and in shape. Thanks for being with us today. Attention single ladies, make sure to tune in next week when relationship expert Kimberly Moffitt joins me with advice about the type of guys to avoid at all costs. Remember that you have the power to power your dreams and power your life.